You know that feeling when you walk into a coffee shop and suddenly your heart starts racing? You fumble with your wallet at the counter, accidentally dropping your changes. And you're absolutely convinced that every single person in that cafe just witnessed your embarrassing moment and is silently judging you. Or maybe it's that team meeting where you need to speak up, but the moment attention turns to you, your mind goes blank, your palms sweat, and you are certain everyone can see how nervous you are. It feels absurdly irrational, doesn't it? You tell yourself, it's just coffee, it's just a meeting. Why am I like this? Yet the emotion is so visceral, so overwhelming, that it dominates your entire experience. Your rational mind knows there's no real danger, but your body is screaming otherwise. Here's what's fascinating. The emotional logic behind social anxiety is surprisingly coherent and consistent. Let me explain why it can genuinely feel like being internationally wanted, and what that reveals about how your brain is trying to protect you. Imagine someone who's actually wanted by authorities. Maybe they're a spy who's been exposed, or someone who's committed a serious crime. They walk through an airport, and every security officer feels like a potential threat. They sit in a restaurant, positioning themselves with their backs to the wall, eyes on the door. Every stranger who glances their way could be the person who recognizes them. Every security camera tracks their movements. Their hearts race when they enter public spaces because the consequences of being caught are real and immediate. One wrong move, one moment of being recognized, and everything falls apart. Now think about social anxiety. You walk into that same restaurant for a first date, and suddenly you're hyper-aware of everything. Are you sitting weird? Did the waiter judge your order? Is your date noticing that you are nervous? You're scanning faces, reading micro-expressions, analyzing every word that comes out of your mouth, even as you're saying it. The pattern is strikingly similar. You're constantly afraid of being noticed, evaluated, or rejected. And here's the kicker. The emotional response in your brain. It's nearly identical to that wanted person's experience. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between real and imagined threats. It simply responds to what it perceives as danger. A wanted person walks into a space and immediately assesses it. Where are the exits? Who's watching? Is that person staring a little too long? What could go wrong? They noticed the security guard lingering near the entrance. They clock the person on their phone. Are they texting someone about them? This isn't paranoia in their case, it's survival instinct. Socially anxious people do exactly the same thing. You enter a party and immediately your brain starts processing. Who's already here? Where can I stand without being too visible? That group laughing in the corner, are they laughing at me? You replay the hello you just said to the host and wonder if you sounded weird. You notice someone glance in your direction and immediately think, what did I do? Is there something on my face? Am I standing awkwardly? I remember once going to a networking event. I spent the first 15 minutes pretending to be very interested in the refreshment table because I was so busy scanning the room, trying to figure out where it was safe to stand. I literally analyzed the traffic patterns of people moving around the space, trying to find a spot where I wouldn't be too exposed but also wouldn't look antisocial. That's the level of hypervigilance we're talking about. The brain acts like there's a genuine threat present, triggering the same protective mechanisms that kept our ancestors alive when actual predators were nearby. When you're in actual danger, let's say you're hiking and you encounter a bear, your body responds with a rapid heartbeat. Blood rushes to your muscles. Your pupils dilate. Adrenaline floods your way. System? Your mind races through scenarios. Should I run? Stand still? Make myself look bigger? This is your sympathetic nervous system doing exactly what it evolved to do, preparing you to survive. Here's the thing. Your physiological responses to social situations can mirror actual danger, even when you're just at a party or giving a presentation. Picture this. You're about to give a presentation to your team. It's just 10 people you work with every day. But as you stand up to speak, your heart starts pounding so hard you're sure everyone can hear it. Your mouth goes dry. Your hands shake as you hold your notes. Your mind, which had the entire presentation memorized perfectly last night, suddenly goes completely blank. You start sweating. Your voice comes out shaky. And then, you start having meta-anxiety about the fact that you're anxious, because now surely everyone can tell how nervous you are. That racing heart, that overthinking, that desperate urge to escape your body is literally responding as if you're facing that bear on the hiking trail. The physiological response is identical. Your amygdala, the alarm center of your brain, has decided this is a threat situation and has triggered a full emergency response. And the overthinking, that's your brain doing what it thinks is helpful. Just like the wanted person who mentally rehearses every possible scenario of getting caught, the socially anxious brain is running through every possible way this interaction could go wrong. What if I say something stupid? What if they think I'm boring? What if I'm talking too much? Or not enough? What if they're just being nice but actually want me to leave? It's exhausting, but your brain thinks it's keeping you safe by anticipating every possible social threat. But here's the crucial distinction. A wanted person faces objective risk. Authorities are actively pursuing them. There are actual consequences. If they are caught, they might go to prison, lose their freedom, face prosecution. The threat they're responding to is proportional to their response. Social anxiety, though, the perceived risk doesn't match reality. No one is actually monitoring or chasing you. Think about that coffee shop moment. When you dropped your change. In your mind, it feels catastrophic. Everyone saw. Everyone's judging you. You'll forever be remembered as that person who made a mess. But here's what actually happened. Maybe two people glanced over for a second, then immediately went back to their conversations. The barista, who sees people dropping things literally every day, barely registered it. And 5 minutes later, nobody in that cafe remembers it happened except you. Or that presentation where you stumbled over your words. You went home replaying every mistake, convinced you'd humiliated yourself. But your colleagues probably remember the contents of what you said, not the minor delivery issues. In fact, research shows that audiences generally don't notice most of the anxiety symptoms presenters worry about. Most people are focused on themselves, not scrutinizing your every move. Everyone's dealing with their own insecurities, thinking about their own to-do lists, worried about their own perceived mistakes. That person who you thought was staring at you judgmentally, they were probably zoned out, thinking about what to make for dinner, not forming detailed critiques of your existence. Rejection, while it can sting, isn't life-threatening. And here's the liberating truth. Safety can be relearned through experience. Every time you walk into that coffee shop and nothing terrible happens, every time you speak up in a meeting and the world doesn't end, your brain collects data. Slowly, gradually, it can learn to recalibrate its threat assessment. Your brain is trying to protect you. That's its fundamental job, keeping you safe from potential harm. For various reasons, whether past experiences or biological wiring, the brain has learned to associate social situations with danger. Maybe you were bullied as a kid, and your brain learned that being noticed equals being targeted. Maybe you had a parent who was hypercritical, and your brain learned that every interaction is an evaluation you might fail. Maybe you're naturally more sensitive to social cues, picking up on subtle expressions and tones that others miss, and your brain has learned to interpret ambiguity as threat. Or perhaps, it's partly biological. Some people are simply born with a more reactive amygdala, a more sensitive threat detection system. It's like having a smoke detector that goes off when you're making toast. The detector isn't broken, it's just calibrated to sensitively. So the fear you feel? It's emotionally logical, even when it's not externally accurate. Your brain has created a model of the world where social situations are dangerous, and it's responding exactly as it should to danger. It's not being irrational from its own perspective, he's being protective. I once read about someone who described their social anxiety this way. It's like my brain is a security guard who's way too good at their job. They're seeing threats everywhere, sounding alarms constantly, and won't believe me when I tell them everything's actually fine. They're not incompetent, they're overachieving in the wrong direction. Your emotional experience is valid and real. The intensity makes complete sense when you understand your nervous system is responding as if the threat is genuine. You're not weak for feeling this way. You are not broken. You have a protection system that's working overtime. So when that feeling hits, when you walk into that room and your heart starts racing, when you feel every eye is on you, when you're certain you're being judged, remember, it's not a sign of danger. It's a signal from your nervous system, not an assessment of reality. Your alarm system is overly sensitive, but here's the good news: it can be recalibrated. Think of it like adjusting the sensitivity on that overzealous smoke detector. You don't need to remove it entirely. You do want to be able to detect actual social threats, like genuinely unsafe people or situations. You just need to teach it to distinguish between toast and an actual fire. You didn't do anything wrong. That anxiety you feel walking into a room full of people? That's not a character flaw. That's not you being too sensitive or overthinking or any of the dismissive labels people might use. Your brain is working overtime to protect you, not to punish you. It's like having an overprotective parent who means well but doesn't quite trust that you can handle things on your own. The analogy helps explain the intensity of social anxiety. Your emotional experience is valid. When you feel like you're being watched, judged, evaluated, when you feel like you're wanted in the criminal sense, that feeling is real, even if the external threat isn't. The wanted person's fear makes sense because the threat is real. Your fear makes sense because your threat detection system genuinely believes the danger is real. Both responses are logical within their own frameworks, but reality is safer than your brain suggests. With understanding, compassion, and practice, you can teach your nervous system to recognize true safety. You can update its understanding of what's genuinely dangerous. This might look like gradually exposing yourself to feared situations and collecting evidence that nothing terrible happens. It might involve therapy approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy or exposure therapy that specifically help recalibrate your threat detection system. It might mean learning mindfulness techniques to observe your anxiety without being controlled by it. Key watching those alarm bells ring while recognizing you don't have to evacuate the building every time. It might also involve self-compassion, talking to yourself the way you'd talk to a friend who's scared, rather than beating yourself up for being anxious in the first place. Of course, you are nervous. This is hard for you. That makes sense. And you're doing it anyway. That's actually pretty brave. The feelings that overwhelm you, they are not a flaw. They're not evidence that you're broken or weak or somehow less than other people who seem to navigate social situations effortlessly. They're a feature of a brain that's trying, perhaps too hard, to keep you safe. And with time, patience, and the right support, you can help it learn when to relax, when to trust, and when the room you're in walking into isn't filled with threats, just other people navigating their own anxieties, their own stories, their own lives. That person who seems so confident at the party, they might be anxious too, just better at hiding it. Or they might have their own struggles in areas where you feel comfortable. Everyone's fighting battles we can't see. You're not being hunted. You're not wanted. You're just a person trying to connect with other people, and your brain is making that harder than it needs to be. But you can work with your brain, teach it gradually that most social situations aren't emergencies, and reclaim the freedom to exist in spaces without constantly feeling like you need to escape. The analogy of being internationally wanted helps us understand why social anxiety feels so intense, so all-consuming, and so impossible to simply get over, because in your nervous system's experience, the threat feels just as real. Understanding that doesn't make it go away instantly, but it does help with the second layer of suffering, the self-judgment, the "why am I like this?" The feeling that you are uniquely broken. You are not broken. You're human, with a very human brain doing very human things. And that's a starting point for compassion, understanding, and ultimately, healing.